Hey, it's Heidi Dawson, and this is Wednesday Wisdom, where I interview wildly successful people from across the world, where we get an inside view into what their daily life looks like. Success leaves clues, and on Wednesdays, we're finding them. Join me now for the latest wildly successful interview. Hi, guys. Welcome to the 97th episode of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. And it's Wednesday, and I really think you're going to love my guest today. Her name is Gina Harney, and she has been blogging for 13 years about health and fitness. The name of her blog is Fitnessista. She's also the author of the book Hiit It, and she has her own podcast called Healthy in Real Life, which is really, really good. And on top of all that, she's a mother of two. So, you know, she's busy, but she's helped so many women with her fitness and meal plans. And you're really going to love this interview. So let me introduce you to Gina. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to talk to you. My husband and your husband flew together, so that's how we were introduced. And when I started looking at all of your just wonderful blog and books and podcasts, I was just blown away. So I'm super excited to talk to you about all of this stuff.
Yes, it's so nice to meet you. It was so funny when Tom came home, he was telling me about that too. He's like, I flew with someone and his wife is doing something so similar to what you guys are doing. So we need to connect. So yeah, I'm really excited to chat with you.
I love it. Okay, well, you are, as we were just mentioning, super busy. So you have an online fitness business, you have a blog that you've been doing for quite a while, and you have a really great podcast. And on top of that, you have two kids and your wife. So I know you're so super busy. Does that allow you to have like a set morning routine that you could share with us?
So the funny thing about morning routines is I'm so fascinated by them. I love reading about morning routines. I think that it can just really set your tone for the day. And I'm always interested to hear in strategies that really successful people implement in their own lives. But for me, myself, with everything going on, my morning routine is sleeping until my alarm goes off or a child comes barging into the room to ask me what's for breakfast. And I basically just hit the ground running every day. So I don't have a morning routine. I do like to do more of a mid-morning type routine once I get the kids fed and settled and or off to school if they are going to school. And that just involves me taking maybe 5 minutes to meditate. This has really fallen off the wagon since Rona times began, but that
Yes.
was something that helped me a lot before. But I would take just 5 minutes to meditate and then 5 minutes to just write. And I have a notebook and I would just put all of my thoughts, everything that was going on through my brain onto paper. And that just helped me get into my mindset and my focus for the day. So things are a little different, obviously, right now, but ideally it looks something like that.
Okay. Well, that's good though. I mean, even, a lot of times I have found that when I talk to people that have children, it's very different from people who don't have children at home.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, we don't have children, so we're able to do a morning routine fairly easily every day. But at the same time, I think about busy parents and how hard it must be. So you getting in 5 minutes here and there, I think that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good for your kids too, I'm sure. So, okay. So as a nutrition and health expert, do you take supplements? I mean, and are there things that you think that we should be taking?
So I probably take more supplements than the average Joe. I would say
Okay.
I take a handful of different things every single day. I worked with an acupuncturist and she specializes in women's hormones. My hormones were just so off after we had
Okay.
our second child. So she has me on a lot of different things. I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say what I think other people should be taking. But for I myself, some of the things that I notice a huge difference with are a really great multivitamin. I like to take a B complex. I do vitamin C. Lately, with everything going on, we've been taking zinc, elderberry, what else? I have this mushroom immunity spray that I take every day.
Okay.
I like to take all the things
Yes.
basically There's also an Organifi greens powder that I really like, and it's just a mixture of all of these really nutrient dense greens. That's nice to
Okay.
stir into your water.
Nice. Yeah, we do Dr. Gundry's. I don't know. Are you familiar with Dr. Gundry?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we take his Vital Reds pretty much every day. And then when I was going, I'm allergic to fluoride, which, is
Oh, wow.
water, right? And
Yes.
so I'm very careful. I don't generally drink tap water. So we're usually trying to find bottled water, and I make my coffee with spring water. So, but
Okay.
but if I drink too much fluoride, then my face will just completely break out in a rash. And since he has a formula that's called Faces, and it's a green powder, and it helped. I mean, it completely cleared up the problem I was having. So I think those green powders can work wonders for
Yes.
people. So yeah, I love Dr. Gundry's powders, and they taste good, which is nice.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know that he had supplements, so I'll check those out.
Yeah, check them out because the Vital Reds are more for energy, and I mean, there's a whole yeah. You'll see the science behind them. It's if his videos can be a little long-winded.
Okay.
Sorry, Dr. Gundry,
Yes,
but
I agree.
but they sometimes I get hooked and I'm drawn in and I'm like, okay, I'm so interested. So yeah, it's really good. So okay,
Mm.
all right. So then let's talk a little bit about on that along the same line of like routines and all that. Do you have like a certain set amount of hours that you sleep? I know this is always different for people with kids too. So and do you
Yes.
find it critical to your health and fitness that you get a certain amount of sleep?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I think that one of the hardest parts about having newborns and really small children is the sleep deprivation. I
Mhm.
feel like when I get a full night's sleep, I can tackle anything that comes my way. But if you take my sleep away, it is like the world has come crumbling down.
Yeah.
It's funny too because our kids have learned just that I'm a better human when I do sleep well at night. So, like, they'll be like, "Mom, I woke up last night, but I just turned on my light and went back to bed." I'm like, "Okay, thank you for doing that." I'm just a zombie when I don't sleep well. It just
Aw,
really affects me. So, I try to get 8 hours a night. I have
okay,
something called the Aura Ring. I got it about I want to say 6 months ish ago.
okay.
And that has been such a game changer for me. It's a sleep tracker and it breaks down your sleep in the app. So you know how much REM sleep you get, how much deep sleep you get. It gives you a readiness score for the day based on your training the previous day and your recovery index. I love to geek out on stats like that. So it's been really cool to see what a difference it's made since I've made sleep more of
I
a
love that.
priority.
I have heard of the Aura Ring. I interviewed the sleep doctor, and he actually does the Aura Ring for his clients because he has clients that he monitors their sleep stats, whatever their sleep stats for them.
Yes.
And so he'll call them and be like, "Hey, I noticed your sleep last night was really bad. What's going on?" So yeah, I
Wow.
love the idea of that Aura Ring. I have not gotten one, but it is very intriguing to me. I have a tendency, I'm one of those people that I'll wake up in the morning and count how many hours I sleep. Like I'm kind of obsessed about it. And,
Okay.
and so he was like, Heidi, I think if you got the Aura Ring, with your sleep style, he has all these sleep styles and everything. He goes, you might be kind of obsessed about it. So I was like, okay.
Yes, I could see that. And it's really cool to see how different things affect how well you sleep. So if you have a big meal before you go to bed, you don't sleep as well. I noticed for myself, if I have alcohol too late in the evening, my body is working on metabolizing it throughout the night. So my heart rate's elevated and I don't get as much restful sleep. So you can just look for
Yeah, now
just
you're
things
gonna
that
make
happen.
me have to go get an Aura Ring. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see, and then now I know if I'm gonna have wine, I have it at 5 or 6 o'clock instead of having it at, like, 8 or 9 o'clock, and I sleep so much better.
That's really interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I'm putting that in my notes. Uh,
Yes.
all right. So now on your website, which I love, you have a great website, and let's go ahead. We're going to talk about what the name of it's fitnessista.com, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I'll put that in my show notes because it really is a good site. But you have a phrase on there that I love, and it said, "Being fit is always in style." And I mean, I just can't agree with that more. And fit is different for everyone, as you and I both know, right? So
Yes.
I remember when I was about 15 pounds heavier than I am right now, and I thought, oh, I could shop my way into feeling fit. Like I would just keep buying clothes because I didn't love the way I looked. And
Mm,
once I got that extra weight off, it just felt like, I mean, it never worked that I could buy clothes to feel fit, right?
mhm,
So, and then also, I love to work out, and so I thought, well, I can eat whatever I want because I work out so much. So I'm
mhm.
wondering, are these common challenges that you find with your clients?
Yes, I think so. I just think that's just so common across the board. And like you said, I think that I like to equate fit with being healthy instead of fit with being a certain size or like fit with being
Right.
quote skinny. And when you are healthy, you just feel better about yourself. Like you have this confidence, you have this glow about you, your skin looks better, your energy is higher. It just transcends into so many different things. So yeah, that's kind of like my whole mentality is just being the best version of yourself so that you can feel good to do all of the things that you need to do. As far as the eating aspect goes, I totally hear you on that. And I think that it's just a result of the diet industry trying to teach us to negate food with exercise. And I think that it's something that's just in people's heads. Like they
Yeah.
eat a sleeve of Oreos and they're like, how far do I need to run to burn off these Oreos? It's like,
It's
well, it
so
doesn't really work like that. You eat the Oreos and you run, but they don't counteract one another. They're two separate entities that are happening.
yeah. You can't, I mean, you can't out train a bad diet. I've always heard that. It's 100% true for me. So I can attest to that. I don't know if other people experience that, but for me,
Yes.
as I every 5 years, I notice that I have to make a change. Like the older I get, every 5 years, I'm like, okay, well, gotta, adjust just a little bit here and there. So
Yeah, I agree. And our metabolism just changes as we age and as we lose muscle density. It makes such a big difference in how our metabolism functions. I just think it's so depressing though, because it affects women so much more than it does men, in
right,
my experience at least. Because
yeah.
my husband's 40, he still eats whatever the heck he wants and will slam like double cheeseburgers and fries and shakes and
Oh
just
boy,
live his life. And I'm like, I worry about your heart. Like you look great, but what are your organs doing on the inside? Because he can eat
yeah.
whatever and he looks great.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get my husband's the same. My husband's pretty healthy for the most part. I mean, he doesn't eat like he was way healthier when we first met than I was. Uh,
okay.
so, but now I think he's really realizing that exercise, which he always has exercised, that he still, is starting to, the older he gets, he has to eat just a little bit less. So, we
Okay.
kind of follow, like we sort of eat where we don't eat a lot of white sugar, white flour during the week and
Mhm.
any of that stuff. So we kind of do that, but I'm interested in to see you've got some really good looking recipes that
Oh, thank you.
yeah, yeah. So do you do those yourself? Do you like come up with those
I
yourself?
do. Yeah.
Are you a
Yeah.
big cook?
I used to not be, but I just became one over time. I just really enjoy it. I think over the last year, I've kind of been in more of a funk because we've been eating so much at home. Just been
Right.
in a bit of a recipe rut, but usually I love to cook. I love to create recipes and
Okay, good. Well, for everybody listening, if you go on her Instagram and go to her link in her bio, she has all kinds of recipes and all kinds of good stuff. So, okay, so now your book, let's talk about that just a little bit. It's called Hit It, which I love. And now can you tell us for people who aren't familiar with HIT training exactly what that is?
Yes, absolutely. So HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. And what it is essentially is you're working in periods of really hard work followed by rest. So you're spiking up your heart rate, recovering, spiking it up, recovering. And there's so many different ways you can do this. You can do it based off of time. So work really hard for 45 seconds and then recover for a minute, work hard for 45 seconds, recover for a minute. I break it all down in the book. There's so many science backed strategies for the best ways to hit train. But the nice thing about it, and I think what makes it so accessible, is that you don't need a lot of equipment. You can do a lot of these exercises just with your body weight. And the workouts are really short. really effective. So if you're working really hard during your HIIT workouts, you don't need to work out longer than 25 minutes. And the beauty of it is during that 25-minute session, you'll burn as many calories as if you were doing steady state, low intensity exercise for 45 minutes.
Wow, that's wonderful news. I
Yes.
really haven't done like, I've done boot camp and things like that, but I've never really, understood it that way. But I do know that when I'll go through phases where I'll do sprints, and I
Okay.
swear the most fit that I am is when I'm sprinting and then walking and then sprinting and then walking. So, there's
Mhm.
gotta be something to that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's pretty cool. Your body has to work harder to restore itself back to where it was before you were exercising. So there's this thing called EPOC, and that's your oxygen consumption after you exercise. And when you do your HIIT workouts, your EPOC is higher because your body is working so much harder to restore your heart rate and your tissue temperatures and so many biological processes that have to go back to normal. So in the process, you're burning more calories, which is pretty cool. And another thing too, you mentioned the sprints. That's a really great strategy to help yourself get stronger and faster over time because when you are really pushing yourself to that speed limit, your base pace starts to feel easier and easier and you can
It
increase your
does.
speed.
You're
Yeah.
so right about that. I mean, you really do kind of, and I didn't, that wasn't even my purpose, but I noticed that when my husband and I would run together, he's like, wow, you're running fast, and I didn't used to be a fast runner, but because I was doing sprints and I would do them on the treadmill uphill. So it was really good. But yeah, that's awesome. And you also say that you can do it without gym equipment, which is huge right now because of COVID. Have you found
Yes.
that people are like, "Oh my gosh, Gina, thank you so much," because I swear when they shut down the gyms, we couldn't find any workout equipment because I'm not a big workout at home girl. Like, I don't love it. It's kind of
Yes.
social, so that's one of my social
Yes.
talents. But yeah, we couldn't find any equipment, so here we are trying to come up with training at home, and we're not trainers. So is that something
Yes.
we found people saying, "Oh my gosh, thank you"?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I myself went to Amazon just to kind of amp up our home gym a little bit, and they were sold out of everything.
Yep. And
Yeah.
what was there was like $1,000 for a dumbbell or something.
Oh, totally.
That may be an exaggeration, but
But yeah.
anyway, okay, so let's talk a little bit about like the process on the business side of your book, just for a minute. So, how long did it take to write your book? How did you get it published on Amazon? Because it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, tell us all the good stuff about that.
Okay, so oh my goodness, it was such a long process. Knew I wanted to write a book when I first started the blog, and I wrote so many book proposals, and they were all turned down. I can't even tell you how many I wrote. I want to say it was at least 6 or 7, and they're very beefy documents. You have to
Right.
have your purpose and your table of contents and sample chapters and how you plan to market the book. And initially, I just kept getting turned down because my audience was too small, because they're not so much concerned about what you have to say. It's about how you're going to promote it, how you're going to
Right.
sell it. So my audience was too small. So I would just kept trying and trying. And every time my audience grew, I would try again. And finally, my audience had grown to the point which was considered sufficient for them. And I had an agent that a friend referred to me. So I went through the agent, and she was amazing because she's the one who pitched my concept to all the different publishing houses and found a good match for me. So that was really exciting. And she helped me just like narrow down my concept and make sure that it was good. So that's how that one came to be. The nice thing
Awesome.
is that they did everything for me once I wrote the content. So they're the
Okay.
ones who had it produced and sent out to the different entities that would sell it.
Nice. Okay, well that's great. It's good to know because I have listeners that write books or wanting to, have books that they have in the works and things like that.
Yes.
So you have your website is really good too, and your podcast. So how do you find the time to do it all? So you've got a lot going on. I mean, do you lay your week out in advance and stick to a schedule, or do you have daily goals? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I try to go throughout the year and plan out any of the big events. So if I know I'm launching different products, I know when each launch is going to be, and then I sort of reverse engineer from there. Each month, I try to just write down some of the things I'm going to focus on or themes for that time of year. So we just got
Okay.
through the holidays. So gift guides or holiday, usually I would do like holiday travel workouts, things like that. So kind of just theming it out. And then each day on more of a micro level, just like to have maybe 3 to 5 non-negotiable tasks for every day. And my list is usually so much longer than that, but I feel like if I just get through those 3 to 5 things, I feel like I accomplished what I needed to do and everything else can just roll over to the next day.
Okay. So are you a visual, I don't know, do you have a kinetic day planner, like one that you open up and write and mark?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes, 100%. I cannot do the digital thing, and
I
it's
can't
funny.
either.
Yes, and Tom is so digital and techie, like, he likes to have everything in the Gmail calendar, and I just laugh because I'm like, "I can't do this, it's really hard for
Mm-mm.
me." So I'll
Same
put
thing.
the big things in there, but everything else I like to have on paper because you can scribble it out, you can move it makes it so much easier to
Well,
see
and when you
everything.
check it off,
Yes.
it's so satisfying.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Well, I was just curious. That was just kind of a random question. Another
Yeah.
thing I wanted to swing back around to, as you were talking about growing your audience, how did you grow your audience? Like, what were some of the things that you did that were successful for you?
Honestly, I get this question a lot, especially from people who have newer websites. I really think I got lucky with the time in which I started it. I started the blog, it will be 13 years ago
Oh,
this
wow. Okay.
summer. Yeah, so a long time ago when like the healthy living blogging was really new. So I think I got into that at the right time, but what really helped me over time was just sticking with it
Yeah.
and trying to write content that I think would help people who are reading. So anything that I struggled with myself, fitness wise, or any of my personal training clients were struggling with, I just tried to dial into that and just create content that would help people and really just sticking with it. I think it's one of those things you just know if you're in it for the long haul. So
Right.
you kind of just have to commit and just keep trudging along and put out good content and see what happens.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I know for me with my podcast that it at first you're kind of like, okay, nobody's listening, and then
Yes. Yes, and then it grows every week though.
yes, it grows every week, and you're kind of like, okay, well now I have to really put out good stuff.
Yes,
Because people are
exactly.
listening, which of course, if you weren't doing that from the get go, but I think it gets better and better. And the key is to not give up. And it's
Yes.
so easy to give up. And I think that's the one thing that I love, that message that you're giving, is to stick to it, because that is the key.
Yes.
Sometimes we quit right before we're about to have a breakthrough. So
Absolutely.
but
And I
thank
think
you.
too the intention of going into it with the intention of wanting to make a lot of money really quickly, I
Yeah.
just don't think it's realistic. Like
Mhm.
I didn't make decent money from the blog for 2 years. So you have to
Right.
just kind of know you're in it for the long haul.
That's right, yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're enjoying it, I think that was the one thing, and I talked to my husband about this a lot, is that I so enjoy, like, I do a solo cast on Monday, and then on Wednesday, I have interviews, and
Okay.
I enjoy writing my solo cast so much,
Yes.
it's just, something that I would do whether anybody listened or not, so
Absolutely. And I think if you go into it with the intention of only making money, I think people can feel that and see that too. They can tell
Yeah.
you're not passionate about it. So it's important to choose topics and things that make you excited too.
That's right, and it takes you on a path, like, it takes you on a journey, and just be sure to follow that, don't be afraid to take a path that you're like, "Okay, well, I'm not sure." Some of the best times I've had is when I didn't wanna do something, but I was like, "You know what? I I I have this instinct that says, you should just go ahead and do that." And
Yes.
when I do it, when I take a chance, it usually works out really it something good happens from it. So,
Hmm. Yep.
all right. So
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit more about your fitness and health kind of style. I mean, you focus heavily on healthy eating, which is so good. Uh, okay. So I've heard that nutrition is about 80% of our success with being fit and healthy and all that good stuff, which I don't think is very fair.
Yes.
Have you found that to be true? I mean, is that pretty on point?
Yes, I have. And I don't really have any science to back it up, but just from my experience with training people for so long. But it is funny, like I mentioned, because I think it does affect women more than men. Like,
Back to that, yes.
yes, it
Very,
absolutely does. Because like my husband eats whatever he wants. I did notice though he is eating more vegetables, and I think he's found the connection that he feels better when he does
yes.
choose more like whole foods. But as far as an eating strategy that works well for everyone, I would just say it has to be something that is sustainable for the long term and something that you enjoy. So you see
Yes.
all of these like fad type diets going around that just completely eliminate entire food groups. And I just don't think that's realistic for the long haul. Like for myself, I want an eating plan that lets me have birthday cake and lets me have wine. And if those two things are off the table, it is not my friend. I'm not going
Yes,
to take part in it. So I think it really just all comes back to moderation. And I feel like that a lot of people say that, and it's not the exciting word that you want to hear when it comes to this stuff.
right.
But it really is true. You have to allow yourself to have the things that you really enjoy as part of your lifestyle, and then you don't feel deprived. So if you tell yourself you can't have something, it instantly makes it so much more appealing. And
Yeah,
then when you finally let yourself have that one quote forbidden thing, you're going to go bananas. Like instead of just having one brownie, you're going to have like 5 brownies because you
right.
told yourself it was bad and you couldn't have it. So I really think it's just letting yourself have the foods you enjoy, pay attention to your hunger levels, and also how food makes you feel too. So I know that a lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods, a lot of greasy foods, alcohol. Those foods taste delicious, but they also make me feel terrible. They
Mhm,
make me feel tired. I feel sluggish during my workouts. I'm hangry. I have a
mhm.
sugar crash, just all of these things. So, kind of just paying attention to how foods affect your body, I think is important. And
Yeah,
like for me, something I just like to do every day is I like to have a big salad or a smoothie every single day. So by doing that, I feel like it gives me a really great dose of nutrients, produce, fiber. I can add whatever ingredients I want to it. You can always switch them up so that they're always exciting. It doesn't feel like you're
okay.
eating the same thing all the time. So that's one thing I would recommend is a smoothie or salad every day.
I'm one of those people, I can eat the same thing every day and it doesn't bother me, like, I'm not a
Yeah.
huge foodie, like, I don't need a lot of variety. If I find something that I like, I'll eat it every day,
Yes.
as long as it's healthy and it feels good, like you said. So,
Absolutely. I'm
that's
the same way. I had an egg burrito every day for probably 3 years for breakfast.
that sounds wonderful to me.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
eat turkey bacon with a little bit of almond butter on it and just just a little bit, not much of jelly because I know it's sugar, but it's very minute amount. But
Okay.
it fills me up so much. So I have 3 pieces of turkey bacon that are kind of crispy, and then I put almond butter directly on them, and so it fills me up. So
I have never heard of that combo, but I am so excited to try it. It
yeah,
sounds really good. Like
you must try
salty
it.
and sweet and
Yes.
creamy. Yum.
It's
Okay.
ridiculous, and it fills you up, like, I can go until lunch and not if I have to. I mean, sometimes after 3 or 4 hours, I'm just like, "Okay, I'm starting to think about lunch," but
Yeah.
it fills me up for a very long time, and I have probably eaten that, I mean, probably for 3 years, yeah.
Okay. Yes. I can't wait to try that. Maybe tomorrow.
Okay, there you go, it's good, it's so good.
Yes.
You'll have to let me know how it was. Okay.
Yes.
So then, if you could give one piece of advice for training and one piece of advice for nutrition, what would that be if you were just allowed to give one for each?
Okay. So I just talked about moderation, so I don't want to use that same tip again, even though I think it really is important for consistency. So let's see. For fitness, I think that you want to change up your routine so that you are not working at the same level every single day. I think that's so important. Like it's New Year's, so there's a lot of fitness plans floating around right now, and I'll glance through them just because I like to see what people are doing and maybe get new ideas. And oh my gosh, some of them it's like total body workouts every day for 7 days, and I'm like, no, why
Don't
are
kill
you doing
yourself.
that?
Yeah.
Yes, like why are you doing this? And so I like to have a really nice split throughout the week. I have a PDF. I can send you the link to it, but it's about how to set up a workout plan,
Okay.
and it gives you ideas on how to put in like your upper body workouts, your lower body workouts, your total body workouts, and also how to adjust your cardio intensities. Because the thing
Okay.
is, like, your heart is a muscle. So you don't want to be working it to the same capacity every single day. So you want to give it time to recover, just like all the other muscles in your body. So you want to have some really hard days, some easier days, some rest days in there. So I think that's a good rule of thumb. If you did it yesterday, don't do it again today. So that's probably
Okay.
my
That
fitness
that's
tip.
good. Now, if you'll send me that PDF link, I'll put it in the show notes because I bet other people would want to see that too. So
Okay,
that would be
perfect.
great. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I'll send that to you. And then nutrition. I'm trying to think what my big one would be for nutrition. Like the moderation thing is so huge. I have this one phrase I like to use. I say eat like a pro, and I put pro in all caps. And that's just a reminder to have protein and produce at every meal.
Oh, I
I
like
think,
that.
yeah, and I think that combo just really helps with preserving and building lean muscle. It helps with energy. And then when you add produce to every meal, you're automatically including bonus nutrients and fiber, and you're going to feel more satisfied afterwards too.
Yeah. Okay. I like that a lot. Eat like a pro, and that it's kind of it reminds you of what you should be eating. So that's
Yeah.
good. Okay. Perfect. I love that. Okay, so now this is my happiness question because I feel like it's one of the most important aspects of living a wildly successful lifestyle. So, what is it that truly makes you happy in your life?
Yes, I would hands down say my family. I just enjoy them so much. And I feel like with the past year, all of the craziness and uncertainty and worry and sadness, it has definitely been a silver lining that we've been able to spend so much time together. I
Right.
feel like this is the most we've ever spent together as a family without the kids being in school all the time. And before, they would be in school all day, and then we would pick them up and then take them to dance or gymnastics or soccer, and then we would come home and eat dinner and they went to bed. And I feel like this has just given me the opportunity to really enjoy them. Like our little one is 5, our oldest is going to be 9 on
Oh,
Friday,
wow.
and they're just like so fun and so funny and crazy and just
That's
I yeah,
awesome.
they're the
That's
best. So
great. I've started asking that question just recently, and I never hear, just like it's usually about family. It's
yes.
usually something about that, which I love. I kind of knew that would be the case though. So that's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So Gina, how do people find you? What's the best way to follow you and work with you? And where is your podcast, the Health in Real Life podcast? Where can they find that? All the good stuff.
Okay, yeah. So you guys can find me at my blog. It's fitnessista.com. So fitnessista.com. And that's where I share workouts, recipes, just adventures, life as a mom, everything that's going on. I'm also on Instagram. It's at fitnessista. And then my podcast is called Healthy in Real Life. You can find it wherever you would normally find podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. And I also have a free fitness challenge that I'm doing on the 18th. I just opened enrollment for that this week. So I'll include the link for that too if you guys want to check it out. But it's just a 7-day fitness consistency challenge. I feel like so many of us had our routines just completely flipped upside down this past year. So it's going to be a way for us to just support each other and get some motivation, mojo going.
So true.
And
I love that.
yes,
Okay, yes, send me that link and I'll also put that in the show notes because right now is the time to that everybody's thinking about it. And if, so many times we set these goals in the new year and then because we don't have accountability, we don't follow through with them. And so having an accountability partner through the form of a challenge, I think is wonderful. So
yes, it makes such
great.
a big difference to know you have buddies working with
Yes.
you and cheering you
That's
on.
why we were talking earlier. That's why I love going to the gym because you have you kind of have a social group there and you see
Yes.
the same people every day and you know that, hey, you're working out together. We're all in this. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm missing. But yeah, through a challenge, you're working with other people in the same way. So I love that. Okay, good. Well, this has been so much fun, Gina. And I thank you so much for coming on. This has been a lot of fun. It's been full of good information and we'll we'll put all of it in the show notes so that people can read it and find you and just keep following you on Instagram and help watching everything you have that you got going on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun to chat with you.
All right, Gina. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.